comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge, Total Landscape Solutions.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rayom can help.
We are live, and it is time to talk racing now. I am Sean Stanley. That is the great Spencer O'Neill, a.k.a. No Doubt.
That's
and
right.
Today we are talking the great track that is Kansas.
I loved Kansas this week. Did you enjoy the race?
I did not, man.
You didn't? I really enjoyed it. I think Kansas is fast. I like it.
It's fast. It is, but it just... But again, I guess, it goes back to you had a dominant car, and it just felt like nobody was even, like, forget a zip code. They weren't even in the same state as Kyle Larson. Larson was in Kansas, and they were in Miami. I mean, it was bad. They got chances on the restarts and everything, but once Larson started rolling, I mean, it was just going round and round. It really was, to me, like, I put in the title, going round, NASCAR goes round and round in Kansas, because, I mean, you had your time, the tire thing was interesting. You had your storylines, the Denny Hamlin issue with the clutch, and, Keselowski in second place and hits the wall, tire blows there.
The rear right.
You had your little stories in and out of it. But again, and it's interesting too, because the last race, I believe that I said the same thing about, was a Kyle Larson dominant win. Where it was just like, it just felt just the race didn't matter. It was just like, all right, let's get these last 50 over because Larson just needs to go celebrate.
Yeah, and... in the restarts, he didn't really dominate the restarts. It was just about once they got going in green flags, it was over, And I think we had our last caution and restarted around lap 50, 55 to go. I start counting down at that point. I don't know what the lap was, but, about 50, 55 left. And
I think that was right about
he got out front immediately. He might have, but at that point, it was over. It was 50 laps of him just running away. And, the only real chance he had was there at the end. Not he, but I want to say it was Elliott. Did Elliott get second?
Wasn't it Bell?
Yeah, Christopher Bell was running him down. But that was just because he was saving his tire. Because they were concerned that he was going to blow it.
Well, they said at the end you could see the on the front right
you
front.
You could see
again,
some stuff coming off.
Yeah, if you're going another 3-4 laps, it may have got very interesting.
Yeah.
But again, how much of that, he was so far in front, how much did he baby it to where it made it interesting at the end because he knew, it just was like, to me, again, and kudos to them for bringing that car there and getting that car prepped to that way and everything else. It just, when you're so dominant like that, and I mean, great for them because they came and got this stuff done. The 5 team did what they need to do, but it also goes to me to wonder, like, what's wrong with the other Hendrick cars? The fact that one stands out so much. Like, where's the other? Because it's usually the 24 and 48 are together, and then the 5 and the 9 are together.
I mean, Bowman was up front all day.
I mean, Chase ran well. Bowman.
And Chase was the only other person that really took a lead from him from any quasi-significant amount of time.
Yeah, but they just didn't seem as dominant as that car.
Oh, they weren't. No, they clearly weren't.
And again, maybe it just comes down to the way Larson drives and his ability to just fling the car wherever he wants to drive it. It seems like he can, for the better and for the worst of the team's detriment, it works out for him. And it just, again, I can't take nothing away from Larson and the day he had. And to be honest, there wasn't a lot of Keselowski hit the wall. Hamlin had his issues. But I did read something where, like, in the last 3 races, he scored 165 points. Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson?
Yes. And now he went from below William Byron to leading him by like
35 points.
Is it 35? I thought it was 80 or something. I read it wrong, maybe right wrong on X, but I was trying to paraphrase.
35 points right now.
35?
35 points right now.
Now he has a 35-point lead. Remember when we were talking about before, I believe he was one of the ones that were down about 80 points. So in the last 3 races, he's jumped that considerable much, and he's winning. So it's not like he's, and again, for me, the good thing was Hamlin got through 2 stages, picked up some points, not a lot of points, but it wasn't a terrible day for my buddy in the 11. And I don't think your guy had a terrible day. He wasn't a lot, but
he was up front and early, and then he sort of fell back, and he just got mired in it. I think he ended up racing up to like 15th or 14th or something,
which isn't terrible. Corey Heim, very, very well represented in his first race with 2311. Not his first Cup race because he filled in for somebody. I forgot who it was actually on one of the teams. But for 2311, it was one of the first races he ran for them, and he was the top dog for them in the thing. I think he got 13th, I believe it was.
Let's say he finished the race. He led, or he was on the lead lap, and he was almost top 10. So,
I mean, you can't expect.
What else can you ask for?
That you put him in that kind of car and see what he can do. And I mean, again, he had trouble with the first start. Everybody kind of ran by him, but again, probably just getting used to his car. Didn't want to have any issues, and you need that seat time. They probably knocked him in his head so much that he was like, "I'm not going out on the first lap," and he fell back like 8 positions on the first or the second one because there was a wreck early, and then he settled in and he had a good race. For you, anything else stood out in the race for you?
So the only other person that really could challenge Larson all day was Chase Elliott. He had that issue in the pit stop where I want to say it was the one where the lug nut was dropped, the jack man left too early, and the back right tire guy was still trying to put the tire on, and he had to go back and lift the car, and it ended up being like a 17 or 18 second stop, and he fell back out of the top 10 into like 12th or 13th, and he just wasn't able to race his way back up to the very front. But outside of him, I mean, I didn't see anybody that could really challenge Larson all day. Keselowski was a sad story. He was fast.
Yeah.
And he was driving his way through the field, and, he didn't conserve that tire. He blew it out, and that was it. That was it for him. But it looked as though Brad was going to, have himself a top 5.
Him and Busch they're on that tough luck streak right now, man. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It's not always their doing, but something seems to find a way to cost them in the end.
Yeah, like Kyle Busch, he was mired in a situation where they were 4 wide, and the accordion happens, and It goes from, I think it was Chastain down to Cindric, down to whoever was next to Cindric, that just took out Kyle, if I remember correctly, and
Yes, little
they just ran out of room. They had to funnel in because they can't go 4 wide going into turn 3. I want to say it was, and that was that.
Yeah, man, dude, the damn Kyle Larson, man, that's just crazy. And the one thing that I noticed in this race too was there's a lot of weird things happening just for him on himself in the one pit. The lug nut somehow falls off.
Yeah.
In the replacement, the guy's got in his belt that he loses that, and it's like
there was lug nuts everywhere.
It was crazy this week. Like,
yeah,
is it just them not putting them on there to really? Like, I don't know. Is it the glue thing or they're holding on, or what's going on? Why?
So it
why
seemed
now
like
sudden, or has that been a problem? And we just never really, because I haven't heard a lot about that specific issue, and it just felt like there was just lug nuts everywhere in this race. In the pits.
So obviously we've had the issue with the tires coming off.
Yeah,
we've had the issue with the tires coming off because the lug nuts have they're very particular. They fit in this one spot, and then they can look.
Yep.
Yeah, and they can look like they're on, and then they're not, and you find out when your tire comes off, right? So we've had that, which we didn't have this race. But to me, it almost looked like the piece was 2 pieces, and it came apart. And then once they kind of gathered it back together and put it on, there was another random piece that was just laying there, and I wasn't sure what that was, but it looked metal, and it looked circular.
That was the extra one. They carry an extra one on their belt so they can rip it off. What happened was, I guess the one that was on the original tire fell off, so he went to rip that one off, and as he was ripping that one off, the jack man actually picked up the original one and handed to him, so then they dropped that one down, and that one just laid there. One of them just laid there until, I guess, after the pit stops, but then they got to push them out and try to pop the clutch, and that worked one time.
Yeah, it did one time.
It was not going to work, and the day was over. And then my dad's asking what happened to what is happening to Bubba.
So as far as this race, I only have Bubba in my notes once, and I do remember it now that I look at it. And it says, I just wrote Bubba early penalty in the pit stop for interference with Josh Berry's box. I think this is the one where he sort of drove through Berry's box and either clipped or almost
as he was leaving.
The guy, the crewman had to jump out of the way, right?
Yeah, as he was leaving. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just him going too far forward. So then when he had to go, he was there. However you want to look at it, I don't know. That's why you stop deep in your pit, but I don't know who's behind him. So they might have been working together where he pits further up so the other guy can get out. I mean, again, you just never know what that whole strategy was. And then did he know that the other guy was going to be, Barry was going to be coming in at that time and just turns into bad luck and sends you to the back.
Yeah. And, after that, I didn't really hear much from him. A lot of the race was because Larson was so out front. A lot of the race was just watching second, third, and fourth. Yeah. It seemed like second and third were consistently about 3 to 6 seconds, depending on how long the green flag run had gone on for. And second and third were kind of going back and forth. And then there was this like group in fourth, fifth, and sixth that seemed to happen. And they were consistently, 3 seconds back of second and third. And it did feel like the field kind of consistently fell into that pattern until it really got stretched out. And I know I've talked about this prior shows, but this was another circumstance where you saw what happens on a fast racetrack with a fast race car when they're keeping the pace and no one can keep up with the pace.
Yeah.
When you have somebody up front and everyone can kind of keep up pace, you have some bunching. And then you get 2 wides, 3 wides. You've got a lot of really, competitive racing, a lot of people on the lead lap. This was not that. This was Kyle Larson out front, everyone doing anything they could to get clean air, forget, whatever it was, just getting single file, trying to get clean air, trying to keep up as much as they could, trying to stay on the lead lap so that if anything happens, you can try to make magic somehow. I don't know. Maybe Larson drops a lug nut and has an 18-second pit stop like Elliott did, Yeah,
it's a bad day when they're laughing because Larson didn't lap the Chevy cars at the end of one of the stages because they could have. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, he backed off and let the Chevys go. And it's like, that's the type of day it was.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there was a couple times in the boot where it was kind of like, to me, it felt like they were just kind of daydreaming up there because when Keselowski hit the wall, they didn't pick up on it right away.
No.
It was
No.
Keselowski in the wall, then he's driving down. Then it was like, oh, Keselowski's in the wall. The only thing I could think of is they were
staring at him.
They were watching Larson way ahead of him and didn't see Keselowski at the time. But
They had him on the screen.
I know
they had
he
him
was
on the screen. They were
but I
just
don't
watching him hit the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's in the wall. Like, what? Nobody gonna say anything? And they finally, oh Lord, okay.
Yeah, it's like Keselowski's in the wall. I was like,
They were pretty down deep in the notebook, like pulling out things to talk
my
about
God,
2.5 hours into the race. Like,
Yeah,
all right, well,
yeah.
we got to talk about birthdays and Make a Wish Foundation stuff, something.
And they're just trying to be nice to some of the sponsors, making sure their car got on there. And they're like, here's so and so, 35th place. He's running very well today, but it's like, let's go through the field. Okay, here we go. It's Kyle Larson up front. But so that was Kansas, ladies and gentlemen. We got the All-Star race this weekend, the final Fox broadcast. Let me tell you something, man. Now, I know the racing has been okay, but the last few races for them, to me, not been the greatest, man.
Kind of looked like a WWE match. There's a couple of botches.
Yeah. Yeah, a little Cena Orton action going on. Cena taking care of wrestling for us. Killing it one act at a time. But it's odd because, like, again, and to me, NASCAR is a little bit like wrestling. Everybody has their favorites. Some people like road courses. I'm not one of those guys. I appreciate the fact, the driving abilities that they have and things like that. But I don't see it as entertain. Maybe if I'm live, but it's not as entertaining on TV. Just like that race to me yesterday was not entertaining at all. Because again, if the left tire becomes an issue, then there's things for us to talk about. But it just felt like, again, it's one of those things where practice, it's an issue. Come race time, again, because they even said teams are going to take as much as they can. And now they're figuring out, because anybody that watched the first practice, there was left tires everywhere. The second practice, not so much. So again, and then it just didn't figure into the race at all. I mean, there was a couple tires that went down and things like that, but I guess
they were rear right.
Yeah, Keselowski.
They were constantly rear right.
Yeah. Yeah, because they changed the lefts, didn't they? For this race, the rights were the same, right?
I was just talking about the tires that went down. It seemed like the tires that went down always seemed to be in the rear right.
They changed the one side. They kept the one side, but I can't remember if that was the left or the right.
Oh, when they were going two tires, they were changing left or right? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they had changed. No, they had changed it was a softer tire on the right, I believe, this time.
Oh,
they brought
okay.
a softer tire, Goodyear did, to try to make the racing more racing, I guess. I don't know. But to me, it just didn't figure out for me. And now we go to North Wilkesboro, the All-Star race. And again, this is not a points race, so it's just one of those where you have fun, you try to win some money, and then you head to the Coca-Cola 600 would be the next one, because Prime's, I think, first broadcast is the Coca-Cola 600 on Labor Day. Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, it says Xfinity's next race is in Charlotte, so.
Yeah, so that would be, yeah.
So, yeah, it looks like May 25th.
Yeah, I believe we have ARCA and trucks again this week with NASCAR for the All-Star race. And again, the All-Star races are just time to have fun. I like the fact that they do let the pit crews in on the qualifying part of it. I don't know if they're doing the same, but they normally do. It's one lap, you come in, full pit, and then another lap to finish it, and then just set up. And they'll do just the normal stuff they do, the racing and the setting up and all that stuff. I liked it better when it was at Charlotte. I did, because it was a bigger. But again, I think the race should rotate a little bit to some more of these regional tracks and everything else like that, to give that. I mean, again, it's an all-star race. It's just go and enjoy yourself, show it to another audience, and but I like the way that the format that they use is different to me, and I like it.
Let's get him on a dirt track with well, I think what do they call those? Like the wings on them? Are they outlaws? I think they are.
There are outlaws. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
the one that or the
I don't
sprint
know.
cars, right? The sprint cars are the little ones.
They
right?
might be called sprint cars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, no, because Kyle Larson will dominate in that shit too, man. Freaking guy, dude. Freaking guy can race, man.
Yeah, but you can hit him there.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this week, or actually last week, I think right after our show, the Tuesday after our show, they came out with some news. The championship race is coming back to where it never should have left. Paradise. It's coming back to Miami.
That's right.
For 1 year, possibly. They're going to rotate this race. And can you read that language for me, Spencer, that you had that we talked about right before we came on air? Because again, the way they said this, it's going to be a rotational championship race, and then the language that Spencer's about to tell us.
All right. So if you want to see the X, I guess I'm pretty sure Sean posted it. So it says new championship rotating model. NASCAR championship weekend will rotate as part of a fan-centric effort to ensure the season's exciting conclusion is shared amongst NASCAR's marquee venues and key markets. And the language there that's important is marquee venues and key markets. So, we're not going to get a championship race in Sonoma.
What?
But the question becomes, which I know that, this is kind of where you were trying to get to, is are we going to get championship races, say, in Talladega or in Daytona?
Yeah, I don't see any road course and I don't see any super speedway getting the race. I just think there's too much the road course because you kind of take away from the racing on the track in a way. As far as, because again, when you get mired back, if you have a poor qualifying effort and you're one of the top 4 teams, I mean, I guess you could strategy-wise and move yourself up or whatever, but you're not going to win it on the track, probably. I mean,
I can see a championship race at COTA. It's Austin, Texas.
Yeah, but then wouldn't they
it's
just
a fun
put it in
track?
Texas?
I could see it. They could. Well, first off, I wouldn't want to do it at Texas. We just had a race at Texas, and the whole thing was about the track and not about the race.
Yeah,
I was going to say that about Kansas also.
And Kansas too, yeah. I mean,
the part I liked about this race is we just came off Texas, and the whole thing was about the track and not about the race. This race was about the race and not about the track, right? Kansas got out of the way. It was just fast, and it got out of the way.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
So, I could see a championship race at Kansas. Even though it's Kansas, it is near Kansas City,
it's kind of a safe track as long as the tires get figured out. Mm-hmm. Because there's not really, I guess on the restarts, you can kind of get wedged up the 4 wide, like we saw a couple times where somebody gets spun out. But to me,
I don't know what the weather looks like in November. What's Kansas like in November? I have no clue.
I got to think it would snow at some, depending on, the winter month, I guess. But it's beginning of November. I guess there could be a possibility of snow, cold as hell, probably.
Mm-hmm. Can they run it? Can they race at 40, 50 degrees? I don't know. They probably can.
Yeah, but again, that's why I feel like they've always done Phoenix and Homestead because they're safe. They're going to be warm. You might get some rain. You might get some rain in Miami. Usually November, no. The earlier,
unless it's a hurricane, but yeah.
Yeah, when you're in April and things like that, you might get the sun shower here and there. But usually by November, it's not as bad. And to me, they're safe tracks. That I call them safe tracks because there's no you're not going to go 3-4 wide necessarily like you would get on the restarts in Kansas. Or things like that. You kind of, you get the restart, you move up, and usually by the time you hit turn 3, you're already either lining up or you're racing a little bit, but not as hard. So they're safe tracks to me, and I don't see NASCAR. I know they're going to sit there and say the right things and that they want to go there, but could you imagine going to like Talladega or Daytona and the 4 championship cars get taken out, and it's like our champion is the guy that finished 36th because he was
he made it further when everyone crashed.
Yeah, it's like Yay, there's our champion. Yay, let's celebrate him. At least at Homestead, usually the champion finishes first, second. Same thing in Phoenix. It's always,
They get out of the way.
The car rises to the top usually. You'll have your times where, Ross Chastain won first, but the second place car was the champion contender, And
Yeah, you race for the win. And unless you're going to win the race, you get out of the way.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. I mean, I honestly would love to see what it would look like, a championship race at Talladega. I would love it. A championship race at Atlanta right now with the way they race in Atlanta, because it becomes more super speedway-ish. And then the question I would wonder is, do the championship contenders just stay behind, or they try to qualify and stay out front? Because you don't want to be in the middle of the pack. If you're
strategy, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to lose the pack, right?
No, that's true.
All right, so marquee venues, key markets. What does that mean, right? So I'm thinking Atlanta. That seems like a clear and obvious choice. Vegas, Phoenix, Homestead. So that's 4, relatively safe. Atlanta's fast, but it's Atlanta.
Yeah.
Charlotte.
I mean, yeah, why not? I mean,
and then do you start getting some of the smaller places that are what I would consider a marquee venue? Bristol. Could you imagine that they actually fill Bristol?
Man. Could you imagine? Think about this. Last lap, the 4 championship contenders are nose to tail. And you're going for a championship.
And it wouldn't look like the Bristol race this week or this year.
No.
It would look a little bit more familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, to me, if I'm doing a championship race there, I'm doing it at night too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing if it's in Bristol, it's night. Same with Charlotte.
And I'm doing it Saturday night.
If I got those, I'm doing it at night.
And I'm doing it Saturday night, so I don't have to compete. Yeah. So I don't have to compete with Sunday night football.
Yeah. I'd rather compete with college football than you take the chance with ESPN putting a bad game on.
Yeah, you might have to compete with like Alabama, Auburn or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, that time.
You'd still probably lose, but hey.
Yeah. But yeah, hey, you put the race in Talladega, baby.
I think it's going to happen. I know that you're thinking it's more of the safe venues. I think we start off that way, but I would be hard pressed to imagine that if they're actually going to rotate, we don't get Talladega and we don't get Daytona at some point.
I just can't imagine them coming on like a press conference trying to tell everybody why, Austin Cindric is your champion because he was ahead of the other 3 championship drivers when they all got taken out. But he was in 36th, and the other 3 were 38, 39, and 40. So since Austin Cindric finished 36th, he is now your champion. And then on the other side, like, as a driver, did I race for it? Did I win it?
Of course you did. This is also the same NASCAR that changed the rules like 4 or 5 years in a row because they were tired of seeing Jimmy Johnson win championships.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
That's why we went to stage. That's why we started saying, hey, let's just throw a fake caution. Let's pick a number and throw a fake caution. Get everybody back together and let's start all over.
Do you want to move to that topic?
Oh, we can. Yeah.
All right. So Sean sent me a video and it shows a bunch of drivers from 2012.
Yeah. It was when they first started talking about, again, doing kind of what has now become stage racing.
Yeah, so 2012, and they were the question was asked. So it wasn't asked about stages.
No,
it was asked, what if there was a known pit stop in the middle of the race, and we just knew there was a pit stop? What if we planned a pit stop, a stoppage in the middle of the race?
Yeah.
And it was asked of Kevin Harvick and Carl Edwards and a couple of other racers.
Almost everybody that's not in the sport anymore.
Right. And they all pretty much unanimously agreed it was a bad idea. And probably the most poignant statement, I think, was from Carl Edwards. If I remember correctly, he was the last one to speak in the video. And he said essentially that what you're doing is you're taking one race and you're making it into two. So for that whole half of the race, that first half of the race, if I'm leading and I've worked up a major advantage, like say a Carl Larson at Kansas, and then you take that and you stop the race, now everyone gets to catch up. And that advantage that I've had is gone. So then I have to re-earn it all. And essentially it brings everybody right back up to where I was. So it splits the race in two. So essentially you've got two races. Now they weren't asked because it was just an idea at the time. This is well before we had stages. It wasn't asked, what if there were stages? It wasn't asked, what if you got points for those wins and it was made competitive? I'd be interested to see if they had proposed it that way, maybe what their answer would have been. I still think their answer would have been negative just because it was different. But yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah,
and this goes to what Sean has been arguing for weeks now, which is that if you want to have stages, cool, just don't stop the race.
Yeah, I mean, again, what if Kyle Larson did all that and lost that race yesterday?
Yeah.
Think about it. They put down everything he did yesterday. He won the first day. He won the pole, stage 1, stage 2, fastest lap, and the race. He did everything. And I get that cautions are going to happen and things happen, and you end up losing. Okay.
Did he max out? I thought there was one thing he didn't do. Did he win stage 2?
Yeah.
All right, so he won stage 1. He won stage 2.
You got the fastest lap.
There's no way he had the pole then, because I thought he almost maxed out. I didn't think he maxed out.
He beat Chris Buescher for the pole.
Okay, well then he would have maxed out. So he maxed out points.
Let me see here. Hold on. Let me find Gluck. I think that's who I saw it. I wanted to send. I got to get better at sending you everything when I see it, and then, or at least to myself, so that I can have them here to pull up the. No, that's not Kevin. It's Jeff Gluck. All right, here we go. Where are we at, Larson? Come here, buddy. Come here, Larson. And plus, he became the first driver to lead 200 plus laps.
He led 200 laps with 21 left, so I think he led 221 or 220.
Yeah, I think So it was
which is insane. There. Yeah, and he also became the driver who's led the most laps at Kansas ever, I believe.
I'm still trying to find this thing here.
But yeah, if he won the race, won both stages, got the pole, and had the fastest lap, that means he maxed out. I believe.
Let me see if I can find this here. But yeah, so then that's my only thing with this whole thing is like you build up these advantages, which means your team is doing what they have to do. And now you're like, okay, wave the yellow, let's bring them all back in. And then it also falls onto, and then also falls onto.
There's a frog.
Yeah. The pit crew then now has to do, I guess ultimately they would have done it on like a green flag, but now you're coming down and now what happens?
It's hard.
It becomes an extra pit stop in a way to where like, are you really just gonna take away our advantage? And I liked what Carl Edwards said, which is why I sent that one to you, because the way he put it, it's like, okay, so I built an advantage, and now you're just going to take this advantage away from me because you want to stop the race at a certain number? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And again, it's the old school mentality, I guess, of, hell, think about it. Back in the day, people would win races by like 15, 20 laps? Going way back? You know what I'm saying? Not now.
Well, back in the day, sometimes we would know who the champion was with like 2 or 3 races left because there was no way anyone could catch them in points.
Okay, so here it is. It was Fox NASCAR. Pole, check. Stage 1, check. Stage 2, check. Fastest lap, check. Race win, check. Kyle Larson all weekend. Just
The only person with any history that could have challenged him had a messed up car. There's only. Oh,
it's pretty
so
funny too because Kyle Larson actually said, "What happened to Hamlin? Where
yeah,
did Hamlin go? I see him." He goes, "I see him doing an interview. What happened to him?" That's how much time Kyle Larson had. He's watching Denny Hamlin on
the
the big
board.
screen as he's driving. Going, "Hey, what happened to Denny? He's out of the race." I mean, come on. And to me, it would have been like if they would have lost that race, at stage 3 or whatever, the team went in and he got mired in the back. Although I believe Kyle Larson probably would have drove right back to the front. But
Yeah,
and that's also again, I understand the other side of it where any caution could happen. You go to overtime and Larson loses. I understand that, but again, to me, that's part of the race. Stopping the race at the end for a stage, that's not racing to me.
right.
That's like, hey, we're going to control how this goes. And like he said, now you broke it into 3 races so that you can award playoff points and points to these drivers that are winning. And again, to me, it hurts the driver. To me, what NASCAR is, which is just get out there and win it on the track.
It's a marathon.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a reason we tell you how many miles they're driving.
yeah, and it's so odd. It's like this race is going to be 80, 85, and 102. What? And then they're like, well, how many laps? They can go 80 laps on gas. So the first stage, they really don't have to get gas then. I mean, and again, right. I know some teams play the strategy where they don't load it all the way or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but if you can do a whole stage and not have to worry about gas and like, what are we doing? These guys get paid to make decisions, and you're making the decision for them because they know they got the lap. They don't have to start making real decisions until the 3rd stage because that one you usually have to do a green flag pit stop as long as there's no accident. But if there's an accident, now you don't even have to do that, and you have to make. I mean, again, I say make no decisions, but no like crazy strategy calls to me. Whereas if you said, okay, at 80. These guys get the points at 80, but you're not throwing a flag to stop the race.
Right.
Now, yeah, Kyle Larson can still have that issue in the pits, but you make it on the team and the racing instead of stopping it and just being like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, well, in that situation, right? So let's say that let's say the stage is 80 laps, right? And you can run 85 on gas and tires. Okay, that's cool. But maybe naturally you want to stop at 70. If you know the race is stopping at 80 laps, you're not going to get off at 70, you're going to push it. But if you know the race isn't stopping and you can get off and go get tires and gas and come out with fresh tires, and that's 10 laps you may have with somebody else.
Yeah.
Like maybe you make that decision.
Yeah, you have to start making those decisions because you can't just guarantee that you're going to get the yellow and be like, okay, we're good. Just hold on. Hold on 2 more laps with that tire going down because we're going to get the yellow for it. It'll help us. The yellow's going to help us. Try to keep it out there. No, we got to bring it. We don't get the yellow. We got to come in. We got to get the how many cars have we seen? Like, oh, just nurse it around. We get the caution. And then it's like, okay, well, now we got to stay out until they open the pits. But you're saved because you're not going to, you're going to be doing what, 35, 45 miles an hour. And now you just have to, nurse the car around to keep that speed. And then you get to the pits for a free stop. Not a free stop, but, not one where you have to lose position on a green flag. And again, to me, look, you made the decision to put the air pressure where it was. And then you get saved from said decision because the stage has helped you.
Right.
And it's like, I just, I have no problem with the stage racing. I have a problem with the stage stopping. And that's to me, like where it's like, you know, and again, does the race go the way it goes yesterday if they're having to do green flag stops? Does somebody change the strategy to where they end up trapping Larson, you know, where the whole race isn't just Larson? If we're not, you know, if it's just straight green flags, and I mean, we had some cautions which would have, you know, I guess tightened it back up for those things, but like, I mean, the race before, it was every caution, every stage ended on a yellow.
Well, the other thing is also, so if you've got a stage, right, and you know that you've got, say, 15 laps and you can make it and there's a caution, if you're a lap behind, you're going to take the wave around.
Yeah.
But if this race isn't stopping and you don't know when you're going to get to stop next unless it's green flag, you're not taking the wave around. You're staying a lap behind, but you're getting fresh equipment.
Yeah, you have to start making more strategic, which is what it was before. You had to make, you know, some strategic decisions. And there were another thing that had happened a lot of times is if you had a teammate that was maybe down a couple laps, he'd take the caution for you to help you out. That's happened a couple times I've seen, you know.
Just rub the wall a little bit.
Just rub the wall a little bit. Hits those, oh, he's caution. Like, oh, man. Ooh, just in time. Ooh, save me. Thank you.
Hey, these are the cars that do it too. You can hit the wall and keep driving.
Yeah. No, it's just, I just don't like the stopping of it. Like, I'm for everything else. I just don't like, hey, here you guys go. It's like, you know, like, it would be like in the NFL, field goal kickers just kicking, just send out the snapper, the holder, and the kicker and just let them kick. It's pretty much going to be.
It's like getting rid of the kickoff.
Well, no, I like the new kickoff, though. I do like the new kickoff.
Yeah, as long as they're kicking it off.
Well, yeah,
just getting rid of it entirely.
I still think they should back it up to the 20 and then kick from there. If you can kick it out of the end zone, if you kick it 80, 85 yards and it gets out of the end zone, kudos to you. You got a hell of a kicker. You put it wherever you want to put it. But
you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, it just makes no sense putting it at the 40 and having these guys, they're making, like back in the day when it wasn't, you know, 60-yard field goals as a norm, yeah, you could do that. But now these guys are, some of these guys probably make it from like the 30 if they're just sitting there with just a kick.
Yeah.
I mean, not with the rush and all that, but everything else. Like, and that's what these drivers, man, they can, all these guys like just can drive. And the crew chiefs do their thing, but like you don't put it together to make it mean anything. It's like, all right, let's just get stage one. And I love, oh man, God, the crew chief, Larry McReynolds. He's always like, well, you know what you can do is you could probably go stage one, but if you pit 10 laps earlier, you stay out, and then you know maybe you can, you know, strategic. It's like, nobody's thinking that way, man. They're like, if I got 80 laps to, I'm going to go my 80, and I know I'm going to get a couple caution laps already. So that's going to say, like the one, was it this week or was it last week? There was somebody, they're like, oh, you can stay back out there now because, or maybe it was during the truck race. I can't remember, but they had done so many caution laps that he had already done like 15 extra laps over what they thought he could do. But because there were so many caution laps, it allowed him to figure in for that.
Oh, like gas or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And they're like, how much farther can he go? And Larry was like, I don't know.
Who knows?
Because he pushed it right now, but we've had so many caution laps. I don't know what he saved. And also you can save gas going around and, you know, taking off the gas and cruising, and then, you know, all the little things that you can do as a driver to save gas. They don't know all that stuff. I mean, yeah, they got those little telemetry, whatever the hell those things are, where it's got green, yellow. Oh, it's getting close to fuel. Man, I've watched that thing, and I'm like, that guy's out of gas. And
somebody out there is literally got a pen and paper or maybe a calculator. I don't know. Maybe it's AI at this point, but somebody's out there doing math for these teams. Like they're literally sitting down doing math,
Yes.
trying to figure out what the average of the gas burnage is,
Yeah.
and
They're
figure out how
weighing
much
the
gas they
gas
got.
can so they can figure out how much gas you got in. And then I
Yeah.
remember somebody said, "Well, how much did they spill?" They're like, "Oh, they just figure that in." Like, okay, all right, I guess. I don't. Again, these people are a lot smarter than I'll ever be.
I mean, if you look at those tanks, right, and you just think about they're getting all that gas out of it, out of a bottleneck,
Yeah,
within I don't know,
13
5, 6, 7,
seconds.
8 seconds, however long it is. Like it is really impressive.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. Dude, again, all this stuff, none of it I can do. That's why I'm sitting here talking and not driving and not crew chiefing and writing on clipboard, because I would be that guy that'd be like, "Hey, just stay out there. I'm eating ice cream."
Yeah,
That'd be me. I'm like, "Hey, you're good."
you
Ran
do
in
it.
about, I think they said you got about 56 laps of gas. So we're bringing in about 54.
You can do it. I believe
We're
in
gonna
you.
push it. When we put a little light in there. When that light comes on, you got 12 miles to the gallon. 12 miles to go. Make sure you bring it in the pits at that point. That's what I would do, man. All right, man. What else we got? There was something else we need to talk about, wasn't there? Or was that everything? I think
So 2 things. I got 2 things for you.
Oh, I know what you got. Okay, go ahead.
All right. We were just at Kansas.
Yes.
Obviously, we saw Kyle Larson win. Who has the most wins at the Kansas Motor Speedway in the Cup Series?
Mm. Are they a current driver?
Yes,
Is it my guy Hamlin?
it is your guy Hamlin. He's got 4.
I know he went on a streak where he won. Like, it felt like he was winning almost every. It was there. It was New Hampshire. Like, there was a while, like a couple of years ago, where it felt like every time we went there in New Hampshire, it was like a win for him.
And then I found a guy on eBay that's got some hats. So
Uh-oh.
I got this one. Check that out.
Oh man, that's nice.
It's embroidered on the side. Got
Rusty
the
Wallace,
NGD colors.
GD, yep.
Nothing else on that. But
Oh, but I like those.
I got a couple more. This guy out of Indiana. He's got good hats. So I'm getting some vintage NASCAR hats.
Might have to send me a link. I might take a look at that.
Yeah.
If you want to give up your your
Give my source. Yeah, he's on eBay. He's really easy to find.
No, I'm not going to be bidding against you, am I?
I just buy him straight up. He gives you a price.
Oh, he
But,
does. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody even bids on eBay anymore. I haven't
Oh, I don't
bid
know.
on
I've been
anything in
eBay
forever.
forever, man. Yeah, I've been on eBay forever. So.
I like the when it came in like a cake box.
Oh, nice. So he sets it up nice and
He puts it. It's like a little foldable cake box. He puts the hat in there so it doesn't get all crunched up. So
nice, good deal, man. That's
liked
good.
it.
Takes pride in his work. That's good.
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
That's good stuff, man. What else do they have? Like everybody?
So
How far back?
I don't
I
get.
don't even know when did the hats become a thing in NASCAR? I guess would be my question.
Hats have always been a thing.
Has always been a thing, but I mean, like with the sponsors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Or at least with a
no,
number
yeah,
on
you're
them.
right, because Darrell Waltrip had the Tide, and yeah, okay. You're
I'm
right.
just thinking back to like Richard Petty with the 43 and the STP. He always had a hat.
You're right. He had the colors. You're right. He did have those.
Earnhart always had a hat. They always had hats.
Yeah. But nowadays they look so much neater and cleaner. I love when they have.
Yeah,
to
they
do
look
the,
different.
I remember down here in Homestead for the championship race, man. I always feel bad for the winners and the champions because they got to go and they got to take one with every one of their sponsors' hat, then the race hat, then it's like 27 hats are just like take it off, take it off. Like I remember we were sitting there and it was like I want to say it was Cole Custer was doing. I think it was the trucks at the time. Man, he had like it felt like 700 hats he had. He was there for like 40 minutes just doing pictures. I was like,
Switching out hats and doing photos.
And like, doop, 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 doop. And then there's somewhere, they got to bring the person up. The sponsor is there. So they got to come up for the picture. And then, okay, that sponsor's not here. So they have it set up to where sponsors are here. So they got them in order and they bring them up on the stage to do the win thing. And it's like, man, I was like, oh, these guys just like.
Well, we've seen
afterwards.
I mean, we've seen on the Big O show where it's is it KDST or what are the letters? KSDT. When they're sponsoring the car, they're out at the track.
Yeah, they do the Xfinity, right? Yep, with JD Motorsports, JD. I almost messed up. Said JD Motorsports. And Ryan Vargas actually looked pretty good in the ARCA race. He did a top 10 on a car they threw together that week. It was still getting sponsors the day of the race.
Antonio Brown coming to NASCAR. What do you think?
Well, I mean, hopefully he's got the money, right? Didn't he have an arena team, and then it fell apart?
Yeah. The arena team fell apart.
You know what's interesting to me is now that the injunction came down with 2311, if Jordan says, "Yeah, you know what, this isn't for me."
Well, if he wants to
Again,
be better
it's
than
one of those
Daughtry,
things
or
where,
Daughtry, then
like,
he.
it's one of those things to where, like, and I understand with the judges, you're like, you want to get money for being a charter, but then you want to sue for not getting paid as a charter. I mean, the way they put the language on it, it makes sense. But also, I think NASCAR has to start figuring out what this isn't. This isn't the mom and pop business that it was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it's like these guys. I mean, you're starting to see. I mean, what they run 38 cars this week instead of 40. The trucks are down to like 36. I mean, and then when they do run 40, the other, like the third 3 or 4 trucks do like 2 laps and are done because they can't do anything else because of the equipment.
Right.
It's like, man, bro, like, they got to figure this out because it's not going to get any cheaper.
So, did you know that Michael Jordan is not the only former North Carolina basketball player that own a race team? There is another basketball player who's been in NASCAR for a long time.
I know Emmitt Smith is. What other basketball player? Oh, Doherty.
Yep.
Brad Doherty.
Yep.
Yeah, because he was part of DTG or Brad Doherty. Whatever.
Daughtry Racing.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they became Legacy.
Yeah.
Yep. Now they're part of. I don't know. Is he still part of the Legacy?
Ricky Stenhouse is driving for him right now.
Okay. So he's not Legacy. Because Stenhouse is 47. Legacy is 43, and is Stenhouse the other car in Legacy?
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Stenhouse.
I don't know. I'm on ChatGPT. It might be outdated. They tend to have bad information on NASCAR.
Hold on, man. Let me see.
It says he co-owns JTG Daughtry Racing, which fields number 47 car driven by Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Okay.
But they don't always have up-to-date stuff.
Yeah, it's John Hunter Nemechek is the other. The 42 and the 43, and then, of course, the 84 when Jimmy Johnson drives. So, yeah, no, the Doherty didn't join them. So who became Legacy? It was Petty. Oh, GMS and Petty joined together, and then Jimmy Johnson came on and became Legacy as the okay. Never mind. So that's what it's the 42 and the 43 are Legacy Motorsports. So, but yeah, I mean you got I know Emmett does a car with not Raj Caruth. Raj Caruth is the truck driver. It is he's in the Navy.
I've seen Emmett in like the pre-race sort of interviews and stuff before, but I've never really put together who was driving for him.
Jesse Awuji is who it is. He's a lieutenant commander in the Navy Reserve.
Okay.
And he drives the 74, and it's called Jesse Awuji Motorsports with the support of Emmitt Smith. So, I mean, again, I just hope he understands, like, this is a commitment. It's not, there's money. Like, you don't, and sometimes you don't see the return on your.
It's like a racehorse.
Yeah. It really is, man. And then depending on what series you get into, it could be better or worse, I mean, depending on where you go and what you do. I mean, Pitbull got out.
Did he get out?
So yeah, this year. Last year was the last year he was part of Trackhouse. So I mean, I think he's still like there, but he's not there. I guess is the thing to say. Like if they need like a boost or something, they bring him in every once in a while. So, but all right, my man, let them know where they can catch you.
All right, so you can catch me at NoldOut87 on X. You can catch me here at Talking Racing Now, and you can catch me on the chat board. Uh, you know, doing a little wrestling talk with Sean Stanley and Frankie Fresco on Tuesdays
Yeah, and a note.
in the Squared Circle Digest.
Yes, a note. It'll be this Thursday.
So Thursday.
I have some things to do on Tuesday. So Thursday this week, the Squared Circle Digest. We'll be talking the results of everything from Backlash, including the press conference.
Yeah.
Got injured by his hero. We'll see if that happens and plays out. Well, I don't know.
Good. Dynamite will be fresh in our memories then. We could really dive in.
On the memories. And Bobby Lashley will be telling MJF thumbs up or thumbs down if he's going to be a part of the Hurt Business. So,
what was up with Collision on Thursday?
Well, I think they had hockey Saturday night, or they had a West Coast game Saturday night, so they wouldn't have been on until like
really
midnight.
late.
Yeah, so they ended up moving it to Thursday on TBS.
I liked it. I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, again, Thursdays doesn't have anything on it, and again, Collision's not a bad show. The problem is Saturdays at 8. Most people are going to DVR it and watch it when they get back or when they.
Yeah, obviously we all have very busy lives.
I'm not staying home for Collision. Now, if I'm home, I'll watch it, but like I'm not going to be like, yo, we can't do no plans tonight, man. I got to watch Lee Moriarty take on, whatever, Not that nothing against Lee Moriarty. I'm just saying, like it's not one of the. And then also, you have the pay-per-views, the PLEs for WWE are on Saturdays at 8.
Yeah, it would have been up against Backlash, right?
Like 200. Yeah, they get like 200, and it's like it doesn't make sense, man. And you can check me out, Stanley Media _11, Stanley Media House on Instagram, everywhere else, Stanley Media House Network on Facebook. You can like the page. And of course, Stanley Media House Network on YouTube. Go hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. We'll let you know when we go live. I believe, I got to look at what time. I think the Wilkesboro race is a late race. I believe
I've got 5:30 on Sunday.
Yeah, but that's for the first stage.
I just got to start time at 5:30.
Hold on a minute. Really? Hold on a minute.
Dang Google
I
ads.
saw there's going to be like a stage. There's a stage 1. Hold on a minute, man.
Sorry about the coughing.
No, it's okay. It happens, man.
Well, I wasn't apologizing to you.
Well, I'm saying what they would say. It's okay, man. It happens.
It's true.
What's Pockrass? Pockrass, right? Pockrass. Bob Pockrass. There we go. So they have this guy following Indy and NASCAR. He gets confusing to me.
Yeah, I follow him.
God damn, how many damn tweets did he do today?
He tweets a lot. I don't know how far you're gonna have to go back.
All right, so here it is. So Sunday practice from 1 to 3 on FS2 see, damn it, that's the Indy 500. Fucking got me. Sorry. All right, so Wilkesboro, Sunday. 5:30 is the Open 100, and at 8 is the All-Star 250. So we will be here Monday night, because I'm not going to expect you to be doing a show at midnight, depending on when this thing ends.
On Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no. So we'll be here next Monday, talking the Wilkesboro All-Star race, and then we'll be looking forward to some Coca-Cola 600, the longest race of the year. And then we'll also be back Monday after that, because I will not be doing a live show after Coca-Cola 600. No way. You're off Memorial Day though, right?
Yes.
Or how's it work? Okay. No. So we'll
Yeah.
do
No,
it.
I'm a government employee, so
Yeah.
I get lots of
We'll have to discuss
holidays off.
that because actually Monday is a holiday. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't know what. We'll have to sit down and discuss that because I don't know what your plans are. We'll do that off the air, though. For being on the air, appreciate each and every one of you that tuned in on X, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, and no matter what the title says, this was Kansas. We weren't talking.
2-car, baby.
The 2-car did not. The 2-car did better than the 11-car. But either way, talking racing now. Every Sunday, Monday, after the races, during the races, you never know. Follow each of us on X. We might be there. You might not. But we will finish the race. One way or the other, we're going to limp around and get it done. Talking racing now, Stanley Media House Network. We out.